Okay, I'm going to speak about the latest tweets of Elon Musk on Ukraine, and some may ask why, Kevok, do you bring Elon Musk on Syriana analysis? Basically, because Elon Musk is very influential and he changes the minds of some people. He has an army of, I would say, followers, or maybe a clan, call it whatever you want, and these people follow his steps, whether on the technological level, on the vaccine level, and also now in politics. And were it not the case, I don't think he would have received a big backlash from on the online platforms, especially on Twitter. I can see like thousands and thousands, probably tens of thousands of people are sending him comments. Some agree and others disagree, but basically there are so many smearing campaigns against him. Basically, Elon Musk was praised by the Ukrainian officials and the mainstream media not long time ago because he provided the Starlink internet service to Ukraine. But now he's under attack for proposing a peace deal between Ukraine and Russia, which consists the following. I will share with you what he basically is calling for. So, this is the peace deal that he proposes. Of course, I don't think this is any more logical after the referendums in the four regions of Ukraine, but he is proposing the following. He says, let's do again elections of annexed regions under UN supervision. Russia lives if that is the will of the people. So let's do referendum or elections again under the supervision of the UN because you don't trust the authorities there who organize these referendums, right? And if the result of this referendum or the elections are in favor of joining Russia, then they stay with Russia. If the results of these redo elections, are in favor of staying with Ukraine, they stay with Ukraine. I personally, I don't see a big controversy in that. Second, he says, Crimea, formerly part of Russia, as it has been since the 1783 until Khrushchev's mistake. So I will come back to this issue. I also read about it a little bit, why Crimea, which was part of Russia, has become part of Ukraine a few decades ago. Then he says, water supply through Crimea assured. I don't see any controversy in that too. Ukraine remains neutral, which is something that everyone should agree nowadays in order to avoid a larger war, a nuclear war, an atomic bomb falling here and there, and millions of people are perishing. I don't know why this is so controversial in my point of view. However, let's go back to how Crimea was part of Russia, and then Khrushchev's he gifted it to Ukraine, and why. So let's go to the article together and see. So the transfer of Crimea to the Soviet Union. The transfer of the Crimean Oblast to Ukraine has been described as a symbolic gesture, marking the 300th anniversary of the 1654 Treaty of Pereyaslav. It was also attributed to the Communist Party First Secretary Nikita Khrushchev. Mark Kramer, professor of Cold War studies at Harvard University, also claimed that the transfer was partly to help Khrushchev's then precarious political position against the Prime Minister Georgy Melenkov through winning support of the first secretary of the Ukrainian Communist Party, Oleksiy Krychenko. I'm sorry that I'm butchering the names, it's a little bit new to me. Kramer believed that the transfer also aimed to greatly increase the number of ethnic Russians in the Ukrainian SSR, which had itself was going through problems integrating previous Polish territory due to organized Ukrainian nationalist resistance. Nina Khrushcheva, the political scientist and great-granddaughter of Nikita Khrushchev, the then first secretary of the Communist Party, said Khrushchev's motivation, I quote, "It was somewhat symbolic, somewhat trying to reshuffle the centralized system, and also, full disclosure, Nikita Khrushchev was very fond of Ukraine. So I think, to some degree, it was also a personal gesture towards his favorite republic." He was ethnically Russian, but he really felt great affinity with Ukraine. This is the in the words of the great granddaughter of Nikita Khrushchev. Then Sergei Khrushchev, Khrushchev's son, claimed that the decision was due to the building of a hydroelectric dam on the Dnieper River and the consequent desire for all administration to be under one body. So basically, this was the claimed reasons why Russia or the Soviet Union under Khrushchev's transferred this peninsula into the control, I would say, of Ukraine. They were for a long time in the hands of Russia, and then they transferred it in 1954, I think, to Ukraine. Now, what happened afterwards is that um, all hell break loose en masse by an army of trolls. They call themselves NAFO. Probably tens of thousands of them marched on the site of or the platform of Elon Musk. And to be honest, I wasn't really aware of this NAFO phenomenon, but I have read about it a little bit. And they call themselves, it's like it's like NATO, but NAFO, the North Atlantic Fellas Organization is an internet meme and social media movement dedicated to countering Russian propaganda and disinformation about the 2022 Russian invasion of Ukraine. So there are probably tens of thousands of nerds sitting on their chairs, most probably thousands of kilometers away from Ukraine, and they are countering the propaganda of Russia and celebrating, I would say. Also, I have seen many tweets by them celebrating the death in the ranks of the Russian army. And anytime you post something critical of the Western narrative in Ukraine, you see like these fellas, the NAFO group, are attacking this one person coming on his page and trying to tarnish his argument with ridiculous comments. It's not like they are making genuine comments or trying to debate. No, it's just ridiculing them, posting memes, etc., etc. um, Not so surprising though, Ukrainian officials also joined the chariot accusing Musk of supporting Russia. For example, the president of Ukraine, Zelensky, he accused I think this was it. He accused Elon Musk of supporting Russia, and he even posted also a questionnaire on his profile. So this is it. Which Elon Musk do you like more? One who supports Ukraine, one who supports Russia? I mean, he didn't even support Russia. He proposed a peace deal with Russia. And Elon Musk, he comments saying, I still very much support Ukraine, but I'm convinced that massive escalation of the war will cause great harm to Ukraine and possibly the war. Again, I don't see any controversy in that. I don't think a president of Ukraine should close the door to diplomacy. He shouldn't close the door to any exit for this war. Any door that could, any window that could open for a diplomatic solution to this horrendous war that is influencing and impacting the lives of hundreds of people, hundreds of millions of people around the world, and it is threatening with nuclear annihilation. And as Angela Merkel said, don't ridicule Putin's threats or words. Take them seriously, because there is the chance for a nuclear clash between both sides. If this war escalates further, or it takes too long, or Russia cannot achieve its goals in Ukraine, this is all possible, in my opinion. But another figure who joined this chariot, I would say, is the ambassador of Ukraine in Berlin. And this guy is basically very, he's really radical person. And not this one. Um, he was recently on a TV show, Jung und Naiv, in Germany. And he even praised an ultra nationalist, Bandera, who was a collaborator with the Nazis during World War II, and he has committed um, crimes against humanity, against the Polish people, against the Jews. So there are so much blood on his hands, but he considers him a hero, and he still stays on top of his job here in Berlin, despite some of the reports that the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Ukraine has sacked him. But this is the official stance of Ukraine. They like Bandera, they praise him. There are demonstrations in the street, there are his pictures, there is his statues everywhere. So for them, this Nazi collaborator is some sort of a hero for them. When so his name is Henri Melling. When he made these statements on a German outlet, the foreign ministry of Ukraine distanced himself with his statements because they were so embarrassed by that, not because they don't endorse his words, right? Anyways, so under this questionnaire that Musk posted, the Melling, he comes, he says, the only outcome is that now no Ukrainian will ever buy your fucking Tesla crap. So good luck to you. Fuck off is my very diplomatic reply to you. Like, first of all, if diplomats are talking like this, what did you leave to other so-called NAFO fellas? If a diplomat is talking in this language, whose main job is to be diplomatic and resort to logical arguments and discuss and debate with your opponents and with your friends, and with someone like Elon Musk, when you talk to him like that, it's like, what did you leave for? Where is diplomacy left from this? Why is um, this language? Seriously, I truly asking myself. And this Melnik is a very radical person, and he has a big mouth. He keeps smearing and swearing on social media, and I don't understand this logic, to be honest. So, and I don't also understand his comment here. What does he even think that there are people in Ukraine who can buy Tesla? Ukraine is one of the poorest countries in Europe, and under these circumstances now in Europe, in Ukraine, um, Ukraine doesn't have an economy, doesn't have a military budget. It's the United States, it's the UK, and it's other Western countries who giving and supplying all this weaponry to Ukraine. And you have to believe me in this. Were it not for these weapons coming from the NATO countries, Ukraine would lose the war in a matter of few weeks. They don't have the capacity to fight. So the entire existence is now um, linked and depends on the American support. So in the next election, if another president comes to the United States, like let's say Trump, which I have zero, or let's say 0.5% only hope that he would change course. But if he comes to power and let's say he doesn't want to continue this war with this proxy war with Russia, right? Ukraine will lose the war in a matter of a very short time. And if you don't see this is coming, and I'm really sorry, but Ukrainians are being used as a cannon fodder for in this war, and it's not meant for them to win this war. If it's meant for them to win this war, first of all, um, they would accept Ukraine's candidacy to NATO, and they would come and defend Ukraine like directly. But they don't see Ukraine in that way. They see Ukraine as a cannon fodder in their proxy war against Russia. They want to stretch the war. They want to keep it going so that they can also make profits from the industrial military complex. Military industrial complex can make billions of dollars, and two, they can also recycle money in. Ukraine, through Ukraine, like they did in Afghanistan. So after all these backlashes against him, Musk comes with another tweet, and he says basically, okay, let's try this then. The will of the people who live in the Donbass and Crimea should decide whether they are part of Russia or Ukraine. And one of the most, I would say, most liked comments is, Elon, you are so done. You have done so much good for Ukraine by enabling Starlink and providing thousands of terminals. As a fellow ASPI, I get that you are hyper focused on this topic right now, but these polls and the tweets about bot attacks aren't helping. In fact, they enrage many Ukrainians. So Musk here says Russia is doing partial mobilization. They go full they go to full war mobilization if Crimea is at risk. Death on both sides will be devastating. First of all, why is he mentioning Crimea? Because not only because Crimea was part of Russia like only decades ago, but because Crimea represents a very important geopolitical position for Russia, for it to for Russia to access to the international waters, to the Black Sea and to the Mediterranean. One of the reasons why the Soviet Union lost the Cold War is because um, it wasn't able to access the international waters. There was these two theories, right? The land power theory and the sea power theory. And the United States was a sea power empire, and the Soviet Union was a land power empire, right? And at the end, the analysts or the theorists say this was one of the reasons why the USSR lost, because it wasn't able to access the international waters, and at the same time, it wasn't able to beat the or having control over the international trade routes, right, in the international waters. So Russia has 3 times more population of Ukraine, so victory for Ukraine is unlikely in total war. If you care about the people of Ukraine, seek peace. And I am not surprised actually by these comments by Elon. I have watched some of his podcasts with Joe Rogan, and in some aspects he has critical opinion about the mainstream narratives, which is welcoming regardless if he is a billionaire or not. But because he is a billionaire, he has so much influence over uh, people, because he's so famous, he's beloved by lots of people for what he does. As I mentioned, there is as if there's some kind of a clan, right, following him all the way on social media and elsewhere. And there are the enthusiasts of the electric cars who also like him, etc., etc. So his comments enraged the Ukrainian officials, the mainstream media, etc., because he he broke this mainstream narrative, right? His opinion coming from the United States, although he's of course he's a South African, but he lives in the United States. His connections are in the United States, among the parties, among the politicians, the congressmen, the administrations, etc. So of course it's an important what he did on social media. It's not going to change anything from the outcome of the war. However, if there are few people who may ask this question, why aren't we seeking for peace instead of sending all these weapons to Ukraine? Maybe if some people woke up after this tweet, or I think also other people have become more radicalized now, and they want the military operation to be continued, because if Ukraine make a certain, I think they made some advances in Kharkiv, if I'm not mistaken, a few days ago, all the morale gets high again, and there are so many people who really think that they can win over Russia in this war, or Ukraine can win over Russia in this war, and I'm very shocked about that, because these people have no clue how can Russia can finish this war if they want to, and they are pushing Russia into the corner, so Russia could feel that they have to use all their power, or they can go all in an all-out war against Ukraine. Maybe that's the goal, because as I mentioned, they want to drain Russia economically and militarily, and that's what the United States wants from Ukraine. Not a victory for Ukraine, but to drain the resources of Russia. So, what do you think about this? Do you agree, disagree with Elon Musk? Do you think his opinion is important at all, or he's just a person? And how do you see the reactions of the Ukrainian officials? How do you see all these so-called NAFO trolls and their role on social media? I find it very outrageous, to be honest. I can see that they're attacking on even my colleagues' platforms on social media. They haven't come yet on my platform. I hope they stay away. But, anyways, this is all, guys. I wanted to shed light on this issue because, in my opinion, it is important to see also what's happening on social media, which has become um, a new a place for people to gather and talk in politics. People aren't going to political debates or conferences to discuss politics. They're all on these social media platforms talking about these major issues. And also the officials are engaging with the people, right? So I wanted to shed light on it. I've been your host, Kirk Almasian of Syriana Analysis. If you're new, please consider subscribing and hit the like button. It's a really great help to me. Also, if you want to support my work financially, there are so many means in the description below. I'm very grateful and thankful for all the people who are supporting me financially, which enables me to continue and bring you more content like this. And see you next time.